Hey guys, welcome back. Today I have another dupes video for you, and I know that you all love watching these as much as I love making them. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I have quite a few to share today, and I don't want to make this video too long. So let's start with the first dupe that I found recently, and that is the Stay Naked Hydromaniac Glow Hydrator from Urban Decay. So this retails for $29. I got this very recently. I do love the formula a lot. I think it's wonderful, but right around the same time, Essence had sent me a PR package of their Pretty Natural Hydrating Foundation. And when I tried this, I had just gotten this and I thought, they seem exactly the same. So one day I actually put them to the test. I put the Essence on one side and the Urban Decay on the other, and they literally felt the same. They looked the same. They had the exact same finish on my skin. They even lasted the same amount of time. So I would definitely call this one a dupe. It has the same exact texture. Now, I don't know as far as shade range goes if the Essence one has as many shades as the Urban Decay. I know that for Essence, this has a very large shade range. At the time when they sent this, they sent a whole suitcase full of all these different samples of every shade that they had, and it was pretty extensive for Essence. They normally only have like 4 or 5 shades usually when they come out with a foundation. So anyway, I thought that these performed identically, and the Essence one is $6.99. So definitely a good savings there. So I would check this one out if you've had your eye on this one. Next up, since we're talking about face products, I had recently gotten this little sample of the Say Glowy, what is this called? Say Glowy Super Gel. It's $25, obviously not in this size. The regular one's a lot bigger, but it's basically like a glowy gel to put on before your foundation, or you can put it on afterwards. It's one of those kind of 3-in-1 products. You can put it on as a primer, you can mix it with your foundation, or you can put it on top of your foundation for a little bit of glow, kind of like a liquid highlighter, but it's very subtle. It's not like your typical liquid highlighter that's going to give you tons and tons of glow. It's just a little bit. And when I saw this, I thought there are so many products like this already at the drugstore. I know Milani has one. My favorite one is the L'Oreal Lumi Glotion. This is almost identical in terms of the way that they feel. I don't know that the shades are necessarily alike. The Say I have in the shade Star Glow, and this is the L'Oreal Glotion in Fair Glow. So I think this one's the lightest shade that they make. They're not exactly perfect shade dupes, but when I put these on my skin, they do the exact same thing. They just add that little subtle bit of glow that really, if you're wearing something full coverage, these will probably not show through that foundation. But if you're wearing something like the Urban Decay or the Essence that I just showed, you are going to get a really nice glowy look through the foundation. Or again, you can just tap a little bit on your cheekbones afterwards and kind of the high points of your face if you want to add a little something. But they feel exactly the same. And when I looked up the ingredient list, these two were both mostly water and glycerin as the main ingredients. And I think that's why they feel so similar. I mean, for basically the same thing, it kind of doesn't make sense to buy the more expensive version. Sticking with face products, let's move on to highlighter. And I found the most perfect dupe for the Anastasia Amrezy highlighter. So this has been a cult classic. It hasn't been made in quite a while now, but it is just the most beautiful highlight. It's a baked formula, so it's super smooth. You know, it's made in Italy. Like, it is just super stunning. I'm not a highlighter person, but I love this one just in terms of the glow that it gives you, but how smooth it is at the same time. I'm not really super into highlighter, but I do prefer ones when I do wear them that are more smooth than glittery or anything like that. And this one fits the bill perfectly. So I recently had seen a video by Manny MUA, and he had done a dupes video, and he talked about the Revlon Skin Lights Prismatic Highlighter being an identical dupe for this. And I actually happened to have this one already, and I was blown away by how similar these are in terms of the way they feel. Even the color is almost the same. This color that I have is called Daybreak Glimmer in the Revlon, but even just looking at it in the pan, I mean, the Revlon has like this pattern all over it, but it also has that kind of wavy pattern, just like the Amrezy does. It's a baked formula. It's made in Italy. It's pretty much the same thing. So I'll show you guys quickly what these look like side by side and the swatches of the two. And I mean, I think I really can't tell the difference. Like I said, the Revlon is just a slightly different color, but once they're actually on your cheeks, I don't see the difference at all. And I've used both of them, like one on one side, one on the other, and I couldn't tell the difference. So I think this is an amazing dupe. If you've always regretted never buying the Anastasia Amrezy highlighter, then now's your chance to get basically the exact same thing for a lot less money. Speaking of highlighters, another one that is beautiful is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Beauty Light Wand. This highlighter is so gorgeous. It has this little kind of spongy tip applicator. You just kind of dot it on your cheeks. I'm actually wearing it on this cheek today. And this is in the shade Spotlight, by the way. And you just dot it on your cheeks, kind of pat it in with your finger, and it gives the most gorgeous glow that, again, is not shimmery, it's not glittery, it's just a glow. So it really looks like it's coming from your skin versus, you know, you actually wearing a highlighter. And the fact that it's a cream formula adds to that, because especially if you have really dry skin like I do, I think a cream just looks so much more natural than like a powder sitting on your skin. So recently I had gotten from Beauty Pie their Triple Beauty Luminizing Wand. And immediately I thought of the Charlotte Tilbury because it has basically the identical packaging. I'll show you guys what they look like side by side. It has that little sponge tip applicator, the squeezy tube, even the little mechanism where you turn it to unlock it is exactly the same. And the Beauty Pie one only comes in one shade, but it's almost a spot-on dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Spotlight one. And really, I mean, it's hard to tell the difference when you see them swatched out. And also when you apply them to the face, they look the same. So I actually put the Beauty Pie one on this side and then the Charlotte Tilbury over here. I can't tell the difference between them at all. I felt like the formula was exactly the same when I was applying them. And I know Beauty Pie is known for duping a lot of Charlotte Tilbury products, so I wasn't too surprised. They actually also have a dupe for Charlotte Tilbury's contour wand. I don't have that one in my collection, but again, it's the same thing. It has the little sponge tip applicator, and I've seen a lot of people use it on YouTube, and I think the Beauty Pie one is fabulous. I forgot to mention prices. The Charlotte Tilbury is $38 and the Beauty Pie is $7. So it's an amazing deal. You do have to get a membership to Beauty Pie if you're not familiar with them. So it does cost you a little bit in terms of a monthly fee, but it's well worth it. And even with the monthly fee, you're still going to pay a lot less than the Charlotte Tilbury. All right, so I have one more highlighter dupe to share, and then we're gonna move on to other things. So the dupe that I have is for the Huda Beauty 3D highlighter palette in Golden Sand Edition, or Gold Sand Edition. And this is $45. It's a gorgeous highlighter palette. You have a cream highlight and then 3 different powder ones. This is the one I think probably for lighter skin tones, but she does have other versions as well. And recently, Koki had sent me their strobing palette. Whoa, I almost dropped it. And this one is $13. Plus, I do have a 25% off code for Koki as well, which I'll leave down in the description box. But it's basically the identical thing. You have the cream highlight and then the 3 powders. So I'll show you guys how they look side by side first. And when you look at them in the pan, I feel like the Koki one doesn't look quite as smooth with the powders. They look a little bit more kind of chunky in the pan, but once you actually swatch them out, they are incredibly smooth. I actually didn't really see too much difference between the Koki ones and the Huda ones. I think the Koki one definitely had a different feel going on, but at the same time, the end result was identical. And when I actually picked these up with a brush the other day, I tried the Koki on one side and the Huda on the other, and I felt like they picked up with a brush the same way. They looked the same on my face. In fact, I thought the Koki one was even just slightly more glowy than the Huda. So I was very impressed with this one. I have to say, Koki is one of those really underrated brands that you don't hear a lot of people talking about, but they do have some great products out there. They've had some misses for me as well and things that I didn't really like, but there are definitely some products, especially like their eyeliners and lip liners, that I use on an almost everyday basis that are really fantastic. So I think they're a great brand to check out. All right, so let's move on to blush. I do have one blush dupe to share with you. I know the last dupes video I did was very heavy on the blush, so I tried to kind of find some different things for this one. But I recently got the Tower 28 blush from the Sephora sale. I had gotten a little kit with this blush and a lip gloss in it, and I actually showed them in my last video. I did a Sephora haul, but this one's in the shade Power Hour. It's supposed to be kind of a terracotta shade, and I'm wearing it on this cheek today. I have the dupe on the other side, and again, I think they're very similar, but the dupe that I have is actually not a formula dupe as much as it is a color dupe. I think the formulas are very different between the two. So this one retails for $20 and my dupe retails for $6, and that is the e.l.f. Putty Blush in the shade Maldives. So these two colors are almost identical. I think in a swatch, they only look very slightly off. And when you blend them out on your cheeks, I think they look the same. Like, I don't notice a difference when I looked at myself in the mirror. So again, the formulas are very different. I think the e.l.f. one has a much drier texture, while the Tower 28 actually has kind of a sticky feel to it at first, but both of them dry down to a powder finish in the end. I think the Tower 28 blush is slightly more pigmented, so I really only needed like one little tap for this cheek, whereas with the e.l.f. I did have to build it up a little. It looks really dark in the jar, but actually when you put it on, it sheers out quite a bit. And I would say formula-wise, I think the Milani Cheek Kiss blushes are more similar to the Tower 28, but again, those also aren't quite as pigmented, so you do have to layer them up a little bit, but I think the end result is the same. So anyway, this is by no means a formula dupe, but if you were looking for a dupe of this particular color, I think you won't be sorry with the e.l.f. just because it gives you that same exact look, but for a lot less money. Okay, so let's move on to eyeshadow. I have a couple of dupes for single eyeshadows that I had gotten recently at Sephora. The first one is the Hourglass Scattered Light eyeshadow, and this is in the shade Reflect. Now, these are really, really beautiful. They're pretty glittery, and normally I'm not somebody who likes to wear glitter on my eyes, especially those pressed glitters that are in like the ColourPop palettes, for example. These are actually not like that, even though they're called a glitter. So this is a gorgeous powder eyeshadow. They're actually kind of a unique texture. They have this little stopper in here, which you have to press down, and they remind me a lot of those L'Oreal Infallible shadows that are out there. I actually don't have any of those anymore because they got so old and expired. I ended up having to get rid of them, but I believe they're still around, and I'm not sure if they have a color to match this, but this formula reminds me of those quite a bit. But since I didn't have one of those, I also thought of another single eyeshadow from the drugstore that I have that's very, very similar. Again, it's a different format. It doesn't come in the same sort of packaging, but the end result on your eyes is exactly the same, and that's the Essence Melted Chrome eyeshadow. So this one is in the shade Warm Bronze. And if you look at these two side by side, the colors are a little bit off. I think the Essence one is a bit darker, but the effect that these give is exactly the same. It has the same amount of those little kind of glitter particles and that sheen that it has. And really, I feel like the experience of using these is so similar. And on days when I'm not filming, I tend to reach for a single eyeshadow, just like one of these, just because it's a lot quicker and easier, but it still gives a beautiful result. And I reach for both of these on a regular basis, and that's kind of how I discovered how similar they really were in terms of the effect that they give and how they look once they're on your eyes. So even though these are not exact color dupes, I think just if you're looking for the effect that the Scattered Light eyeshadows give you, check out these Essence Melted Chrome shadows. These are only $4.99 and the Hourglass ones are $29 each, so it's a huge savings. I kind of wish that Essence had more shades. Hopefully they will come out with more soon, but I do think they have a lot of beautiful choices out there right now. Another single eyeshadow dupe that I thought of is for another product I got very recently. I just showed this one in my Sephora haul the other day, and that's the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize in the shade Rose Gold. This shade is absolutely beautiful. The formula is gorgeous too. It has kind of this moussey, whipped texture, and it applies to your eyes so beautifully. And recently I thought of another shadow that I have in my collection already that is so similar, at least in terms terms of the color, and that is the Maybelline Color Tattoo in the shade Socialite. So I'll show you what these look like side by side, and really, I mean, it almost seems like you're looking at the exact same shadow. Both of them have that gorgeous rose gold color. I think when it comes to formula, I think the Maybelline is definitely a stiffer formula. It's not that moussey whipped feeling that you have in the Charlotte Tilbury, but once you put them on your eyes, again, they look exactly the same. And on top of that, I think the Maybelline actually is a lot longer lasting. I find that when I wear the Charlotte Tilbury, it's gone after maybe like 4 or 5 hours. I just see little bits of it left behind and like a little bit of glitter, but not really so much color. And these Maybelline tattoos are like bulletproof. They last the entire day. They are amazing. So in this case, I kind of sort of almost like the drugstore one better just in terms of longevity. I think that this one is a better experience to use all around. It has this beautiful frosted glass jar, and I think that the product texture feels a lot nicer going on. But really, at the end of the day, I think what counts is what it looks like on your eyes and how long it lasts. And I think the Maybelline one definitely has that beat. So the Charlotte Tilbury costs $32 and these are around $7 or $8 at the drugstore. So I think it's definitely worth checking out the Maybelline color tattoos. Also, when it comes to eyeshadows, if you guys have been following my channel for a while, you know how much I love Sydney Grace. I think particularly their shimmer shades are some of the best I've ever tried, just in terms of how metallic and foiled and shiny they are. If you like a really intense shimmer shade on your lid, I think, you know, Sydney Grace is one of the best out there. They're amazing. And really, until now, I hadn't found anything that I felt like matched the intensity of those shadows. But pretty recently I had done a sponsored video with Flower Beauty and I had tried their Jungle Lights palette. And this is something that I had seen, but I never really wanted to pick it up before because it's just 6 shimmer shades. And usually when I get a palette, I like something that has some mattes in there as well. But when I actually tried this one, I immediately thought of Sydney Grace when I swatched these shadows. They are the most insanely pigmented and metallic and foiled drugstore eyeshadows I have ever tried. So what I thought I would do in this video is just swatch them side by side with some of my Sydney Grace singles so you can see how well these actually hold up, and in some cases are even more intense and shiny than my Sydney Grace ones. Now, the colors are not going to be exact. I tried to pick singles that matched these. I'll show you a shot of this palette next to the singles that I chose. They look like they're going to be spot on, but a few of them are definitely a little bit different. But I think the point of just showing you guys this is how the formulas are really, really similar. Now, the Jungle Lights palette retails for $17.99. Sydney Grace singles are between $5 and $6 a piece, so you're gonna spend anywhere from $30 to $36 on the 6 eyeshadows. So this is definitely a better deal. So let me stop rambling and just show you guys the swatches. First, you're looking at Sydney Grace's Bronze to Perfection, a gorgeous gold, and then next to that I'm swatching the gold shade in the Flower Beauty palette. Next up you have the Sydney Grace Pear Tree, which is a beautiful green, and that's next to the green one in the Flower Beauty palette. Then we have Sydney Grace Blaze, and this one is a stunning red. And then next to that, you have the red in the Flower Beauty palette. Also, I think they really hold their own. I mean, just looking at these swatched out, you really cannot tell the difference. Next up, we have Sydney Grace's Demure with this really beautiful light gold in the Flower Beauty palette. Now, these are definitely not a match. I actually think the Flower Beauty one has more depth and dimension. It's just so stunning. And then we have Sydney Grace's Awake, which is a purple versus the purple in the Flower palette. I actually use this one sometimes like to deepen my outer corner with. And then last but not least, we have Sydney Grace's Troops versus the lavender shade in the Flower Beauty palette. And oh my gosh, these are just, they're so gorgeous. I'm actually wearing the Flower Beauty palette today, and I used the gold shade in the Flower Beauty palette all over my lid, and then this lighter gold one kind of popped right in the center and also on the inner corner. And I just love this palette so much. I can't get over how amazing these shadows are. So if you haven't checked this out yet, I think this is definitely a hidden gem at the drugstore. All right, so I have one more eye dupe to share with you, and then we'll move on to a couple of lip dupes. So this dupe is for the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion, and the reason that I love this primer is because it's not super sticky. I know some people love a sticky primer to really like make your lid shades pop, and occasionally if I have a lid shade that's particularly crumbly or it doesn't stick super well, I will use a more tacky primer, really just on my lid. I don't want to go too high with it because then anything that's more sticky is going to give you a problem when you're blending your matte shades. They tend to get stuck then and they don't blend out right. So that's the reason that I love the Urban Decay, because when you put it all over, if you just let it set for like 30 seconds to a minute, it has a really silky feel versus something that's sticky. So your matte shades blend over this beautifully, and really I found a dupe that, I mean, it feels identical in terms of the way that it feels and looks. So that is the Alter Ego eyeshadow base. This is only $6. The Urban Decay one is $24. So there's a big savings here. I also do have a coupon code with Alter Ego, so I will link that down below as well. But let me show you these side by side. Both of them do have a wand applicator to apply them with. And when you see them swatched out, you can see the Urban Decay, the texture of it, it just is so silky. And the Alter Ego, when I swatch it next to the Urban Decay, you can tell it's like the exact same texture and the exact same feel. And I feel like they perform the same way as well. I don't notice any difference in how long my eyeshadow lasts between wearing the Urban Decay or the Alter Ego. So I think this one is a great eyeshadow primer at a really affordable price. Okay, so moving on to lips. In my last video, when I did my Sephora haul, I had talked about how the Tower 28 gloss reminded me so much, just in the way that it felt, to the Maybelline lifter glosses. And so I dug through my collection. I have almost all of the lifter glosses because I just continue to buy them. They're so good. They're my favorite lip gloss out of anything on the market. And I found an almost exact shade for shade match in the Maybelline shade Amber. And not only are they such a good color match, but they also feel exactly the same going on your lips. They're non-sticky, they give you lots of shine, they almost feel kind of like a liquid lip balm. They're very hydrating and really caring for your lips. And I would say the only real difference between them is the scent. I don't really notice too much of a scent in the Tower 28 one. I've heard some people say that it does have a scent, but I just smell like a lip gloss smell. I don't smell really anything with this one. And the Maybelline one does have like a vanilla scent, which I don't mind at all. I love actually the scent of the Maybelline. So it doesn't bother me. If scents do bother you, then it's probably not going to be a good dupe option. But I'm wearing the Maybelline one in the video today, and I think prefer it a little bit to the Tower 28 just because, again, I like the scent. I really like the applicator of this as well. It has that really big doe foot and it just makes it easy to apply. So, I mean, I like them both, but I think the Maybelline one just has like a slight edge for me. And then last but not least, I found a dupe for the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip. So I got a set of these actually around the holidays. So this particular color is not available anymore. It's called Holiday Spritz. They do have a whole line of these though on the Sephora website. So this is definitely not a color dupe, but it's more of a formula dupe. So the one that I have is the Sephora Melting Lip Clicks. So this is the exact same style of applicator. First of all, it has the little click pen, and when it comes to the actual formula, these are so incredibly similar. They have this really kind of melty texture that feels so soft on your lips. Again, it's non-sticky. They're a little bit more on the sheer side, but both provide quite a bit of color and also a good bit of shine as well. For not being an actual lip gloss, I think they just give your lips this really pretty dewy look. I love both of these. Now, there isn't a huge price difference between these two. The Tarte ones are $19 and the Sephora ones are regularly $14. So you're only really saving yourself $5 if you go with the Sephora, but they're actually on sale right now for $10. So they are quite a bit less expensive at the moment. I don't know if this is because of the actual VIB sale going on or if they're just on sale, but you can get 2 of them for the price of 1 basically. And the other big difference aside from the price point is also the smell. The Sephora ones are completely unscented and the Tarte ones have a coconut scent. Now I've heard so many people complaining about the coconut scent and saying that it kind of smells like a plastic coconut scent, or like it's really fake. I mean, it is a little bit strange, but I just love coconut, so I don't really care. I actually like the scent of this. But a lot of people were complaining about it in the reviews that I saw. So overall, I think the Sephora ones are definitely a win. I keep meaning to try more products from Sephora collection because the few that I have tried have actually really surprised me and they've been really good. So if you like these tinted lip balm style formulas, definitely check these out. I think they have a much meltier and kind of creamier texture than a lot of other tinted lip balms that I've tried. All right, guys, so that's everything that I have. I hope you enjoyed this dupes video. If you have any additional dupes that you'd like to share with me or that you'd like to see me feature in my next dupes video, definitely leave them down in the comments below. And also, I'd love to hear from you if you've tried any of these dupes and what you thought of them. And also, thank you all so much for clicking on this video and for hanging out with me today and taking time out of your day to spend it on my channel. I appreciate it so, so much. And also, if you're not subscribed yet and you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you all in my next one. Take care. Bye.